Welcome, everyone, to another fantastic episode of Double Book. Today on the show, I'm joined by a woman who has personally ruined any chance of enjoying a peaceful cabin weekend again. She is the architect of Hook Wielded Nightmares, the empress of eerie ambience, the puppeteer of paranormal panic. Please welcome the creator of the Clatter Man, the one, the only, Janelle Schiecke. How are you doing, my friend?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to have you on. It's been something I've been looking forward to for about a month since I finished The
Man,
Clatter Man. I'm like super excited to go through and have this conversation with you.
thank you. And thank you so much. That was an awesome intro. Thank you.
Oh,
I loved it.
thank you. Thank you. Before we jump into your book, because I do want to give you the opportunity to talk about your book, we do have some friends on here. We have Mr. E.H. Bradley. How's it going, my friend? So glad you're here. And then the man, the myth, the legend himself. Hey, Mark. How's it going, buddy?
I love those greetings.
So, like I mentioned, I read The Clatter Man about a month ago. I was on vacation. I was on a cruise ship. I read it at night when everyone was sleeping. It was pitch black outside, and I got absorbed into this story. It is a crazy, crazy ride. So I want to hear from you the quick elevator pitch for your book and how much emotional damage should readers expect?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Clatter Man is basically a bunch of college kids, early 90s. They rent a cabin in PA, junior year of college. They're super excited. They just want to spend a long weekend away, before, senior year and before they're probably soon torn apart from each other. And one of the main character's best friend kind of has a penchant for the paranormal. And when they get to the cabin, they're having drinks, they're having a great time, everyone's hanging out. The quintessential campfire, which I love. And they start talking about, ghost stories, and the Clatter Man comes up. And one of them decides to conjure him up just for fun. And of course, all hell breaks loose. And it was so fun to write because I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to make a new urban legend. Like, why not? We're fiction writers. We can just do whatever we want, And it was just so fun to write his lore. I kind of, I didn't write his lore until I got to the campfire scene. Cause I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, he needs some kind of backstory. And I have one of the characters actually tell his backstory. Cause I'm inspired mostly by horror movies for the stories I write. And many of the horror movies I watch, one of the characters kind of conveys the story. And I like when it's done that way. So that's how, chaos ensues. And there's a lot of creative deaths that, that readers can expect. Lots of blood, lots of tension, some psychological scares, and some humor and some romance too. So I kind of mix it all up in there. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great explanation. It honestly, what hooked me.
Yes,
what hooked me first in this story was the first chapter, the prologue of the book.
Yeah.
Oh man, that scene was so intense. It was so much fun. Like that, as I got to that, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm watching a horror movie in my head. And I was like, all right, I'm in for this whole ride. And it was so much fun. Clatter Man was definitely original. It had a lot of feels in this book. Definitely, if you're a horror fan, you could feel your love for the genre within this book, and it was like, oh, this feels like this movie. This has the same feeling as this, but in your own twist, in your own way, which I really did enjoy it. We have a few more friends, and then I kind of want to lean in a little bit to your your background in the writing. I'm always curious about that. But we have some friends in, so we have a new buddy. Hi, Rod. How's it going? And then Josephine, appreciate you stopping by.
Hi, Josephine.
And then Whitedale. Hey, how's it going?
See what happens when I'm sick. That's funny.
And then yes, the opening wasn't it? It was so intense. It was so vividly written, and like I could just picture the non-spoiler, but the babysitter running and that one scene where she's just like, oh, it's so awesome. Loved it.
I kind of got that from the Scream intro. And one of my readers reminded them of the Scream intro. Oh gosh. And I was like, yes, because that's one of the most iconic intros in cinema, like hands down. And I kind of wanted that feeling. I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but I kind of wanted that feeling.
No, that's exactly the feeling. It reminded me of a Scream, like the first Scream movie. And I truly enjoyed it. Hey, Jose, how are you?
Hi, Jose. Thanks for joining.
All right. So jumping back to you. Can you tell a little about your journey from becoming a writer, and how did that path lead to the horror genre?
So gosh, I've been watching horror movies ever since I was like 6 years old. So that's always kind of been, part of me. I started reading horror stories at a very young age. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I started reading that probably at like 6. I read that so many times. I wish I still had the books. I'm gonna have to buy them again. Stephen King, Edgar Allan Poe. I just always loved horror because to me, horror has so much. It's all about, I don't know. I mean, it's all about the senses, right? It's all about like, the smell, the touch, the sound, and it's so intense, and it's really the only genre that keeps me on my toes, right? So I like a good thriller, but I also like bloody, right? I mean, I'll be honest. I want something that's gory and bloody and scary. And I'm not saying thrillers aren't that way, but so kind of combine my love of horror, my love of reading. I majored in English in college. I had a BA in English, and I was an editor outside, right out of college for many years. I was an editor, so that helped me out, kind of refining my writing skills. I edited nonfiction, but at the same time, you can still cross over to fiction. And then, I feel like once self-publishing kind of became a little more mainstream, I published Ghost Room 2023. So once that became a little more mainstream, I just thought, what, I'm just gonna try it out and just see where this goes.
That's awesome. All right, so I'm a huge Poe fan. What's your favorite Poe story?
Oh gosh, I'd have to say The Telltale Heart is my favorite one. I love that one. That's my favorite.
Same.
Nice.
Love it. I have a book from, that was one of the first books that I got, and I did a big thing in college about Edgar Allan Poe. I adore the writing style, the in-depth, his skill to write a compelling story very quickly. Always, like, I find it amazing of someone that can write a good, short, punchy story that has so much depth to it, and he, in my opinion, one of the best.
So, oh, absolutely. It's really amazing. He's so good.
All right. Horror movie fan. I want to hear, what's your favorite horror movie? What's your favorite?
Okay. So I know Jaws is not really considered, I mean, it is a horror. It's not like hardcore horror, but I would say Jaws and Saw are my two favorites.
Okay. So you mentioned you were 6 when you started watching horror movies. What was that horror movie?
Well, the first one I really remember watching is A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I was, I always say I was around 8. It must have been earlier. Like, I feel like I was watching lighter horror movies before that, Watership Down, not for nothing. That's a horror movie in my opinion. I watched that when I was very young. That is I've never read the book, but that's a very scary movie, even though it's a cartoon. But Nightmare on Elm Street was my very first horror movie, and I kind of intertwined some of that with the Clatter Man, as you know. I just I love Freddy Krueger. I just love that monster. I think it's so cool. So yeah, that was my first one, which is pretty intense for a first horror movie. And from there, I just went crazy. I mean, it was the 80s. I don't know where my parents were. I was watching horror movies all the time. So, you know.
It's so funny. So, I think I was around 8 too when I saw my first horror movie. I was probably 7 or 8, and it was I was sent to bed. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sent to bed, and I snuck behind the couch and sat and watched it.
Oh my gosh! Oh,
for the first time.
Okay, the mini series or the
mini series one.
Yeah.
The original one. So I sat behind the couch, and that's what I was watching when my parents watched it. I was terrified of clowns until I was in college and realized it was just a clown. But all through childhood, I would see a clown and be like, no, I'm not a clown person. No. But huge, I could never get past it, even though I knew it was a movie. It's just like it traumatized me too much.
It was horrifying as a kid. Like now, it's like I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but I'm sure it's like whatever. But when you're a kid, it's pretty scary.
Oh yeah, yes. It messed me up. It messed me up a little bit. But yeah, became a huge horror fan after that. I don't know. I like the heart race going up a little bit, and then just that big jump moments. Huge fan. Love it. We have some people in here that are throwing out their favorite horror movies. We have 1931 Dracula.
Cool.
That was a good one.
Nice.
Child's Play.
I love Child's Play.
Child's Play is so good.
That was a favorite at sleepovers with my friends. We would watch Child's Play a lot, and we would sleep on the floor. And I would always be scared of Chucky, like running on the floor.
What used to get me out of that movie was I always wanted 15 minutes after that movie ended of when the cops show up. Of how does this kid explain all the bodies and going, it was a doll. Like, I just want to hear him try to explain it to the police.
I know.
And that's all I wanted. I'm like, all this other stuff was fun, but get to the part where you got to explain yourself, where people don't think you're just a crazy person. So that was always kept me going with these horror movies. I always had dumb questions. Misery was... Oh, God. So I have never seen or read Misery. It's on my to-do list for this year. I bought the book. I'm going to go through and end up reading it, and then we'll watch the movie. I know what it's about. Like it's been around forever, but I've never put my eyes on screen to watch it. But that's on my list.
It's so good. Both are phenomenal.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping the book's gonna be good. I'm hoping. All right. So outside of writing, is there any other unique hobbies? So I know you said watching horror movies, but is there any other unique hobbies that you have?
Gosh, I mean, aside from reading, I play video games occasionally. My husband and my son are really big gamers. I love to play Zelda. So when the Switch, what's the Switch 2, right? When the Switch 2 comes out, I'll be playing Breath of the Wild on that with the enhanced graphics. I can't wait to play that game. I wish I could play it like all over again. It's such an amazing game. But yeah, I like to play video games. I podcast walks, big on podcast walks. And yeah, I don't know, just kind of hanging out with friends, I used to crochet a lot. Cool. Yeah, I don't do it much anymore, but yeah, I guess horror movies is a problem. Oh, and then I mean, like my family and I love family time, so we do play a lot of board games and card games and stuff together.
Nice. What's your favorite board game to go through and play with the family?
Carcassonne.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
So good. Carcassonne, and then our favorite card game is called Sushi Go.
Okay.
It's so fun. I love sushi. We all love sushi. We go out for sushi a lot. It's a really cute card game, so definitely check it out.
I need to check those out. So I ask because I have two very young kids, both under 7. So we're trying to get into the routine of family games.
Yeah.
So when they get older, it's like, hey, we always play family games. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to add in more games. Right now, it's very kid appropriate games, and they keep kicking my butt. And it's not any skill level game. It's just like luck of Candyland. And it's just like, yay, I win. I'm like, I never win these games. I was like, I need skill based games that I can actually have a chance of winning.
That's adorable though that you that you don't win. But
I don't win.
that's so cute.
My 3-year-old kicks my butt constantly. He's just so lucky, and I'm just like, I never win, and so it's upsetting. I'm like, one of these days, kid, one of
Yeah,
these
we need
days,
to.
I'm going to start beating you. So I'm trying to teach him chess now. That's kind of the big thing now, is trying to teach him chess and checkers, because I can actually win
Oh,
on
my
one.
son's very good at. My husband and my son are very good at chess. My son's even better than my husband, but I'm horrible. I can't. My son like loves playing me because he beats me in like 3 moves, and I just it's so embarrassing. But it's I can play. I mean, checkers, but yeah, chess is a very. I tried to learn it, and I got to like maybe 2 or 3 really cool moves, and after that, it's like I can't.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites is chess, and then I also am a big Risk fan, so I like playing Risk.
Well, Risk is a good
But
game.
that's
Yeah,
a fun game.
that's a fun one.
Yeah. So, is there any other hobbies you're interested in doing? So you mentioned board games, Zelda, horror movies. Is there anything that you have always thought about, like, hey, I would always love to try this? Is there anything on your hobby bucket list?
I mean, I used to paint a lot. I'm a
Oh, that's
pretty good
cool.
artist. I'm very
That's
good at
cool.
drawing and painting.
That's
I've
cool.
always been a good artist. I just don't really do that often, when I should. I like when I do. Sometimes I will just kind of put some music on and just kind of draw, you know. Uh, yeah, that's another hobby of mine. I like to do just to, chill out. But and then bike. We have a bike, so I do like to try to, you know, get some exercise now and then. Although I'm not as good as I should be. But it's kind of like one of those things where when I do it, I'm like, I feel so good, but it's getting to that point. I know Mark knows about that. He's got his gym workouts.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So jumping in now to your writing,
Hmm.
the creative process. Um, what has been the most challenging and rewarding part about writing the Clatter Man?
Um, oh gosh. So the challenging part for me was creating him, really. The kills are pretty easy. I know they do the kills. I just did some research, for his backstory. I did a little research, and for some other parts of the story as well. But I kind of had to really tap into my creativity because I just had to just make the whole thing. I mean, with Death Cult, of course, I did make that up, but Clatterman's more of lore. I've never written lore before, so I guess that was the hardest part for me. And I really did enjoy it. I had a lot of fun, but it kind of stumped me for a second. I'm like, okay, how do I make this compelling and cool and a fun story for one of the characters to tell? The rest of it was fine. Like the rest of it was really fun. I feature a couple cars in there that are my favorite cars from the 90s. I was a big car head back in the day. I still kind of am. Um, so yeah, but the lore was the hardest part.
So so with the lore and really the story altogether, are you more of a plotter and you have to go through and plot everything out, or are you more of a pantser of let's just go through and figure this out, or some kind of crazy hybrid?
I'm more of a pantser, but when
Okay.
I plot it, I have like maybe like 3 or 4 paragraphs. For this one, okay, bunch of friends, rent a cabin, conjure this guy up, and then the kills I didn't know until I wrote them, because for me, my writing is best when I'm a little more spontaneous. I don't want to really hold. I'm not saying you hold yourself back when you do plot, but I'm a spontaneous person as it is, so I kind of like to leave it open, you know. And my stories usually, and my characters. A lot of time writers say this, but my characters really do decide the story for me. I don't. I know their personalities. I know how they're going to talk to each other, the friendly banter, but a lot of them make decisions before I really think about it, and then oh, okay.
We're okay. All right,
Okay,
we're
we're
going
going
this
there.
way now.
Okay.
All right, now we're going this way. I love it.
Yeah.
So when you're going through and you're in the zone and you're writing scenes, are you the kind of person who has to write linear from the start of the story to the end, or do you get when you sit down get like, oh, I'm feeling I need to write this particular scene
Yeah, I don't rate linear
at all?
because it just I don't want to use the word boring, but I would get too bored doing that because it wouldn't be fun and spontaneous, right? So it would I like to write it where for me the creativity comes most when when I get that spark, right? Like you said, like when I'm ready to sit down and write something, that's when my creativity flows the most. So that's how I like to write the scenes. Like his lore, for instance. I didn't start writing that until I absolutely had that spark, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how it's gonna go. Sometimes I will force myself to write, even if I'm not in the mood, and sometimes I'll bang out a few good, you know, paragraphs or even a chapter, but usually it's when the muse is calling, so to speak.
So, getting these bright ideas, what's the most random spot you've had these aha moments where you like eating dinner or watching a horror movie where you're just like, oh, I got to go write real quick and just go running and start typing up?
Yeah, it's funny because usually it is when we're eating dinner. Um, because my husband and my son, I'll be talking about the story, and sometimes they'll say something that like inspires me, to write a certain idea or a certain kill scene even. So usually it is at dinner or like for one of our walks. We'll take walks as a family. Usually it's kind of those random moments where we're kind of all talking together.
So, do you carry around anything with you normally when you're walking around? Do you like type things in your phone? Do you just talk to your phone? Because I've heard all kind of different people,
I
like
need to
some
start.
are writers.
I don't
Mhm,
talk to my phone, but I should because the
mhm,
typing's,
mhm.
I really should do the talking thing. But right now, I just type in my notepad. That's how
Just
I
go
do
through
it.
and type it. Yeah, I've heard someone because I heard someone say they just like they have a recorder on their phone and they just click
Oh,
record and they just start talking when they're walking. I'm like, that is a fantastic idea.
that's a really good
Just
idea.
like not have to worry about typing or misspells.
Yeah.
Because I cannot recall who was telling me this, but they said they get too distracted when they're typing like, oh, I misspelled this word, and they lose their train of thought and get out of the moment. So just talking helps them a lot. So I always thought that
Hmm.
was cool. Cool different idea.
That
All
is a
right.
good idea.
So going back to your story, I'm very curious on how do you know the story is done? So you said you were telling the Clatter Man story and trying to figure it out. How do you know, but like, all right, I'm done writing this instead of it just being like spending so much time going super in depth to that character?
So for me, it's just a gut feeling. Honest to God, it's just a gut feeling. I just know. The same with all my stories. Um, and what helps is that sometimes I'll just keep on going and going, and sometimes I know when I don't want to overdo it. Or sometimes I know when I'm underdoing. When I know at least a little, needs a little more. But it really is usually like this kind of gut feeling that tells me like, okay, I'm done, and I'll sit with that for a little bit. I'll sit with it for a day or two, and I'll think about it. And usually, I'm just okay. I'm happy with it, and then of course I start doing the multiple passes and go throughs for edits and all that stuff. But yeah, so it's kind of nice in a way, even though it's very abstract. When you think about it, like it's a gut feeling. Um, but yeah, that's how it is, which is kind of
That's
neat.
that's very cool. That's very cool. Of just being like, and so it's pretty much the characters telling you like, we're done. It's like, all right, well, I guess we're done with this story now. The characters
You're exactly right.
are
It's pretty much
finished.
that. The characters kind of, yep.
They,
Like,
they
okay,
just they like,
we're done with,
we're finished now.
yeah.
um, so without spoiling anything, I'm really curious. Is there any specific scene in the Clatter Man that feels the most personal to you? And then if so, why?
Oh gosh. Well, Abby's kind of based off of me. I lost both my parents. And uh, she experiences that, in the book, somewhat. So that's Abby's kind of an amalgamation of me. she's I'm trying to think of what else is in the story, but that's part of it. The urban legends, really. When I was a kid, my friends and we were really into urban legends. In the afterword, I talk about one that my friends
Mhm.
and I used to do, a lot as a kid. So that was a big part of it. That's a big spark of why I wanted to write the story. Like, oh, like we were always talking about, urban legends and stuff. So yeah, and then I don't know, just the friends. I mean, that's how we hung out. We just kind of kicked back and like the dialogue, and we were very just comfortable with each other. And I remember a lot of those road trips, just hanging out with your friends and how fun it was. So I guess I kind of wanted that tone, that vibe too.
Yeah, and you definitely get that in the story. You definitely
Yeah,
get that tone, like, it feels they've known each other for a long time, so that's
yeah,
alright, we have Fina does have a great question. What was the reason for going indie published with your books?
that is a very good question. So I did consider going traditionally published, and then I don't know. I wanted to write my own story, and I don't want to write I didn't want it kind of like I don't want my story kind of fine-tuned for the masses, so to speak. I don't
Mhm,
really have like I write stories that I love. I don't write for, obviously horror fans love my stories, but I don't think I want to write for this audience or this audience. I just write what I love. And I've been so fortunate and so thankful to have these amazing readers and fellow authors that I just feel so very blessed to be where I am. But I wanted to write the story I wanted to write. I didn't want
mhm,
someone saying, "No, Janelle, take this out because
mhm,
industry standards say that." Like for instance, a few of the chapters start with dialogue. That's a big no-no. I don't want to have to deal with that. Like they start really, I mean, the chapters flow really well with the dialogue starting the
mhm,
chapter. And if it was a trade publisher, they'd probably be like, "No, you got to change that." So I just and also with social media, I absolutely love connecting with my readers. I love it so much, and I talk to them, as you know,
mhm,
every day on social media, and it's so fun to be able to just connect with them and have them, like this, have them ask me questions
mhm,
about my stories, and just to get to know each other because it's kind of this really cool relationship, the author and the reader. Like it's a very cool relationship that I really didn't know about, and now I'm so thankful to have it because obviously if you're traditionally published you still have it, but I think as an indie author it's a little more, I don't want to say intimate because I don't know what it's like on the other side, but
mhm,
to me it feels intimate, which I love. So
mhm.
there's a
Yeah.
lot more. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I was agreeing, yeah, it's your story. It's
Yeah.
yours, 100% yours. It's not
Mhm.
any kind of outside influence, of anyone else. So, yeah,
Yep.
no, I 100%. We're gonna jump into one more question, Mark, then I'm gonna jump in back into some of my questions. Mark said, "I'm not sure if it was asked, but when did you decide to start writing? And besides being a horror fan, was there any other influence for you to begin writing?" So I know you went over a little bit about the history of writing, but what made you decide that day of like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start writing a book.
So it was really cute. So my husband, we've been married almost 20 years. I love him so much. So I remember I had this dream for, gosh, I think almost a month. I had this dream about this room, and I kept on talking about it. My husband's like, just write about it. I'm like, I don't know. He's like, just write about this dream. And so finally I started writing about it. And that's when that story kind of took off. I'd written a little bit, now and then before that, but it wasn't anything big. It was more like a journal or something like that. But that's when I really started trying to write a story and seeing where it would go. Um, and besides being a horror fan, yeah, I guess I read a lot of books. Obviously, I read a lot of books, and it got to a point where I was like, "Wait a minute, I could. I'm a pretty good writer. Like, I could write something." You know what I mean? So that's another reason why I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just see where it goes. I had enough confidence by then to, because it's really scary. It's incredibly scary to release a book to the world because it's your baby, and
Mhm,
everyone's gonna get you're gonna get negative reviews and your positive reviews. You get all in the middle. It's gonna happen, and it's fine. Like people, I mean, it happens. People don't like your story, people do like it, and it's just part of releasing art into the world. Um, but it's really it's really fun.
No. Oh my goodness. All right. I know I said one more. I know I said one more, and then I was going to jump in, but I have to show this one. It's how is your favorite horror writer group, and why is it the Dark Veil Society?
Yes, it's the Dark Veil Society. Yeah, so Dark Veil. I'm so fortunate to be in Dark Veil Society. It's such an incredible group, and we're a group of indie horror authors, and I just love being with Dark Veil so much. We just goof around, we banter, we support each other, and it's just really an amazing community.
Bye, Fina.
Uh,
Yeah. So yes, I've read almost all of Dark Veil Society. I'm getting through them. I'm going to end up getting through all of them eventually, but you guys keep adding more people, and by adding more people, my TBRs keeps getting bigger and bigger. But they've all been great. I've loved them. I love them. Definitely go through and check them out. All right, so let's jump back into your story. I mentioned at the beginning that I was hooked by the prologue to the Clatter Man. It was intense. It was graphic. It was gory, and I loved every part of it. It was so much fun. How do you get into that mental state to write these intense horror scenes? How do you get there? Or do you just like turn a switch and going, now I'm going to get really graphic?
I honestly just turn a switch. I honestly just turn that switch, because people ask me like, you're so sweet, how do you write this stuff? I'm like, listen, first of all, I'm a Gemini. There's few sides. And second of all, I just love horror so much, and it's ingrained in me. So to write that scene is almost like second nature to me, and I just love cinematic writing. Some readers have said my writing is kind of cinematic. I like it to be cinematic because I want you to visualize it. I want you to feel as if you're there. And like you said, that heart pounding, I want you to, I just want it to be so vivid and so tense and so scary. And that was so fun to write. And I honestly didn't have that, when I started writing it. And then one of my my good friends, who's one of my beta readers, suggested it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll write it in. And I wrote, she's like, oh my God. Yeah, so I'm glad she suggested it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. All right, so you mentioned feedback, going through and putting your baby into the world and getting those feedback. It could be good, it could be bad. I'm curious, what has there ever been a super unexpected piece of feedback, or a weird piece of feedback, or just something that was plain confusing that you thought was fun to receive from people who've read your book?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know. I mean, I have so many, there's so many reviews. I can't think of. I got one recently. For Clatter Man, where not enough people were killed, and they weren't happy about that. They wanted more kills. They were very underwhelmed. So it is what it is. I mean, what do you do? So
I was expecting more chaos. There wasn't enough blood. Awesome. That's always good. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. I thought there was a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So I guess that one person was like, all right, you'll do a part 2 just for them, and just like,
exactly. Be like, here you go.
Here's an army of people I'm just gonna chop up for you. So that's good. That's good. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Was there any part of the indie process that totally caught you off guard once you decided to finish writing your book and put it out into the universe?
Oh gosh, so much. So first of all, I didn't realize that, I mean, you really have to market. Like, you get your book out there. I mean, it is all just marketing. But then I realized marketing is fun. I'm a very charismatic person, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And thankfully that works out for me, because I love engaging with people. I really do. I want to hear about you. I want to hear why you like horror, what your first movie was, So it's just fun for me. I don't want to say marketing. I just kind of put myself out there. if you want to read my book, great. That's amazing, incredible. I'm so happy. You know, if you don't want to read it, like, fine. You know, I don't push people to read my books, but of course I'm ecstatic when they do. But it's kind of it's just, I don't know. It's like a fun. It's just fun, and I like engaging. You know, but that is a lot of work. I mean, it's fun, you know, but it is, you know, that's how you market. So I didn't realize that. What's the other thing? So I didn't realize there's just a lot into there's a lot into making a book. It's a lot of steps. So many steps. I mean, the cover art, the editing, you know, the pricing, I mean, there's a bunch of them I'm forgetting about. There's just so many steps. You know, the book blurb, you know, you know, getting it out, the kind of like, you know, talking it up before it releases, you know. So, but it took me about, I want to say, a couple years to get a good following on social media. And now I'm very fortunate to have like a good following, but it takes work to get there. You know, it took a lot of work to get to where I am. But now I'm so thankful because I just have this nice, you know, really lovely audience that I can just talk to every day and have fun with, and just, you know, yeah. So it's it's pretty good. Yeah.
All right, we have a question here, and after this one, we're gonna jump into some of my ridiculous questions. It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
Here we go. We got, and hey, Heroic. Hope you're doing well, my friend. So, do you have any non-horror authors whose style you would like to incorporate into your own? That's a great question.
Oh gosh, I read so many horror authors. I don't read a lot of non-horror. I mean, geez, I'm trying to think of like books I've read that are like not really horror. It's usually like thriller or horror. I mean, Anne Rice, The Mayfair Witches is still kind of horror, but I really did love her writing style, which is very, you know, visual and beautiful. And I do want to say that she's, you know, that she is an inspiration for my writing, but she's incredible. I mean, Mayfair Witch is like, come on, like, especially A Witching Hour. I mean, geez, that's just a masterpiece in my opinion. It's incredible. But she's one I can think of that, if anything, I would love to kind of incorporate, because the way she described New Orleans and the Garden District was just so absolutely gorgeous. And so I guess I would like to at some point maybe try to, you know, pick a location and kind of really describe it the way she did.
Live in that moment. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, to the ridiculous now. I have
Okay,
5 ridiculous questions. Okay. I'll let you pick the first one. Pick 1 through 5.
Okay, I'm gonna do 5.
5. Oh, all right.
Is that good, or?
It's gonna be a good one. The Clatter Man comes to life for one day. What do you think? What would they think of you as their creator? Would they praise you or seek revenge?
I would like to think he would praise me, because although I love to write horror, but I'm a scaredy cat in real life. So he would probably make fun of me, but then he would like praise me for, you know, for my love of the darkness.
Okay, perfect.
Although he would make fun of me too, because I'm such a scaredy cat.
So funny. All right, we're gonna jump to this one. I think this one's gonna be fun. If the Clatter Man joined a dating app, what's his pickup line?
Oh God, his pickup line. This is so stupid, but I'll hook you line and sinker. That's so stupid, but that's what I thought of. I'll hook you line and sinker. That's not very romantic, but it's not romantic at all.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Sorry, that's pretty bad.
No, that was good. That was a good one. Oh man.
Okay.
Ooh. All right, few more. All right. Ooh. Oh man. All right. I think you enjoy this one. I think you'll like this one. If you were being hunted by the Clatter Man, but could call in one horror movie character, any character as backup, who are you choosing?
Oh man. I would choose can't do Freddy Krueger because that means that the Clatter Man has to sleep, right? So you can't, I can't do that. I was honestly gonna say Candyman. I don't know because the hooks. I don't know. Candyman or Jason.
Okay. I think Candyman versus the Clatter Man would be so intense.
I think it would be intense.
I think that one would be intense.
Yeah, I like that one.
I like that one. I like your first choice.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Yeah, I like Candyman versus Clatter Man.
Yeah.
And Candyman is an urban legend, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. All right. 3 or 4? 3 or 4?
3.
Which one? 3. All right.
No. What is this? This is gonna be a hard one.
Yeah. This one's gonna be a good one. All right. Let's say your next book has to be a combination between horror and one of these other genres that I'm going to give you. Which one do you pick, and how do you make it work? All right. So horror and rom-com,
okay,
horror and Western, or horror and historical fiction.
Okay, I would do horror and Western. I kind of want to maybe do it at some point. I'm not sure. How would I work it together though? It would have to be some kind of like zombie or something, like some kind of Western zombie, or I don't know, something like that. Yeah, or maybe maybe some kind of like a zombie horse or something. I don't know.
Okay. A zombie Western horse. All right.
Zombie Western horse. I'm thinking about Zelda. Right? Okay. I think it was and oh my gosh. Wasn't Breath of the Wild? I think it wasn't Breath of the Wild, or maybe it was Tears of the Kingdom. They have the zombie horses, the dead horses that run around. They're literally like skeleton horses. I'm going too into this, but anyway.
I'm spot. The character's talking to me now. I gotta write. Oh my goodness. All right. Last one on the ridiculous, and then we'll jump into the lightning round and we'll get serious again. Okay. All right. We're hosting a dinner party, or you're hosting a dinner party. I'm not invited. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
You're invited.
Yes. You must invite 3 fictional horror characters. Who's on your guest list, and what are you going to talk about?
Okay, so Freddy Krueger first.
Freddy Krueger, yes.
Oh gosh, okay. Jigsaw, because I love Saw.
Okay.
And who's gonna be the third one? I don't want to take all night. Okay, who's gonna be the third one? I guess the third one would be like Jason, because Jason's just so cool.
Okay.
We'll do those 3. Jason.
Can I do a replacement? I think he would go perfect.
Who?
With Freddy.
Okay.
Leprechaun. The Leprechaun.
Oh, the Leprechaun.
The Leprechaun.
That was one of your gifts today. You did Leprechaun gift.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. I'm thinking the Leprechaun and Freddy would be an amazing duo to have a conversation with. I think they would just be either bashing on each other the whole time, or they would be on the same page and they would just be going back and forth. I think that would be a fun conversation.
I love that. Yeah, because they both have the humor. I love that so much. That's great. Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. I love it. All right. Lightning round.
Oh God, lightning round.
Ready? All right.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm nervous, but okay.
All right. No thinking. Just answer. First thing comes off the top of your head. All right. Haunted house or cursed forest?
Haunted house.
Favorite horror villain?
Freddy Krueger.
Final girl or doom skeptic trope?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Which of these tropes? Do you like the doom skeptic or the final girl?
Final girl. Most
underrated horror trope?
Oh gosh, most underrated. Cabin horror. I don't think it's underrated, but that's Clatter Man's cabin horror.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
One book you wish you written.
One book I wish. Oh gosh. A Hellbound Heart. I love that book so much. I wish I would have written that. It's amazing. It's a novella. I love novellas too. I read a lot of novels, but I really love reading novellas as well. So I've read that one like 3 times.
Okay, I'm putting that down on the list. I've not read that
So
one.
good. I love it. I love it so much.
Add it on the list. All right. I think I know this answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Favorite horror setting? Backwoods cabin, asylum, or small town?
Backwoods cabin.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. All right. Last one.
Okay.
If your book could have a theme song, now the Clatter Man, what would it be? Clatter Man as a theme song.
A theme song for the Clatter Man?
Mm-hmm.
Under pressure.
Under
pressure, yeah.
Love
right?
It.
That works.
That works. Yeah.
Especially for the prologue.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. All right, so jumping back into a little bit more serious now. This next question, I'm going to toss you the question, and then I'll give my 2 cents with this one. So, if you could see your story adapted, would you rather it be a TV series, or are you thinking a film? If Clatter Man was adapted, film. Okay. Yeah, 100%. Who would you see playing Abby, Ben, Val, and the Clatter Man?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question. I love Samara Weaving, so I'm going to say she would be Abby because she's my favorite horror actress at the moment. She's amazing. The other ones, I don't know. Gosh, yeah, I really don't. Like actors, you mean?
So yeah, who would you? So for Ben,
yeah.
So for Abby, I think I always thought Florence Pugh.
Oh, I love Florence Pugh. I just saw Thunderbolts 2, and she was so incredible. Mm-hmm. Okay, she would be really good Abby. Yeah, she.
I was picturing her as Abby, and then I was thinking
Ryan Reynolds for one of them, maybe. Anyway, I'll go on.
Ryan Reynolds. No, he's too old. He's way too old.
So old. I don't know what I'm saying. I was thinking young Ryan Reynolds. I was thinking, okay, anyway.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking Dylan Minnette for Ben. He was the guy from, let me see. Maybe I can present my screen. Let me see if I can do it.
Okay.
Because I think I gotta, let me see. Yeah. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see if I can figure this out. Oh, there we go. All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. This guy for Dylan.
Oh yeah, I love him. He's so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm thinking for Dylan.
Yeah.
All right, let me bring up. Oh nope, clicked the wrong button. Bear with me. So sorry. Okay. All right. Then the best one. All right. So the Clatter Man. I've thought about this for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious.
So I want the body. Okay. This is the Clatter Man walking around. Has to be Doug Jones. Needs to be Doug Jones walking around being the Clatter Man.
Oh yeah. Okay? Oh, I can totally see that. Yeah.
But the voice of Keith David.
Oh God, yes.
That's my envision of the Clatter Man, was those two together. I think would kill it. Would kill it as the Clatter Man.
Wow,
so that's my
I love that.
That's my 2 cents.
I love that. And Florence Pugh, God, she's so incredible. I love it. She's just have you seen that movie?
Thunderbolts? No.
You haven't seen Thunderbolts? Mm-hmm. Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm. But what was the movie I saw her in recently? It was I can't remember. I'm trying to look, but I don't want to stare at the screen. One of these movies she was in that I saw, and then when I was reading the book, that was who was in my head when I was going through and reading it, and I was like, it has to be her. That's my person. That's it. But yeah, and then the Clatter Man, I had that in my mind since we booked this conversation. I was like, this is the Clatter Man. This is who it has to be. It would be amazing.
And that voice is so perfect because he's got that really deep.
Right. Voice. It would be terrifying. And then Doug Jones's like skinny body going around with that deep. Yeah. Terrifying. It'd be so much fun. All right. Yeah. All right. So that's my choice. I'm putting it out in the universe. We need to make it happen.
Yes.
So jumping back in, because I'm curious on, your opinion on some horror tropes. Is there any kind of horror trope or theme that you haven't written yet, but would love to explore in the future?
Well, I have a lot of whips going on. One of them is about a haunted asylum, which is funny. Um, I have a novel I wrote 2 years ago, almost an almost novel, that kind of has like fantasy, horror, and romance, but it's nowhere being done yet. It needs a lot of help. So that one's kind of on the back burner. Um, Another one, gosh, I don't know. I do want to do short stories, which I know wasn't like, a kind of like trope or something, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to do asylum. Like, uh, I've watched a lot of asylum. Like, there's this movie. I think it's called Gunjam Asylum. It's a really amazing, uh, found footage horror movie, and that was really good. And I just love the idea of going to this like, haunted asylum, and
Mhm.
it would be so fun to like write almost like like 13 ghosts mixed with a haunted asylum, like,
Mhm.
pick like the types of ghosts they are and kind of place them in all these rooms. And I kind of like would like to do that at some point. That'd be kind of fun.
That would be cool. Like something where, because I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen some videos on like YouTube or something of these people that get their camera and like, I'm gonna go catch ghosts on
Yeah.
camera. And I'm like, they never catch anything. And I guess it would be cool if it was like they jumped into like, oh, it's actually haunted,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
just things get wild. That would be fun. That would be something cool. Be
Yeah.
something cool. Is there any other genres outside of horror you're interested in maybe trying down the line?
Not really. Not
No.
really at the moment. No, not really. Yeah, I just love horrors. It's what I do well too. That's the thing. Like,
Mhm,
I'm not really into fantasy.
mhm.
I don't like romance really. Although I mean, there was a little romance in the cab, in the Clatter Man, but I don't like romance movies, or romance books. I mean, nothing against them, but it's just not my thing. Um, so it's yeah, I don't know. I just really yeah. I'm trying to think of any other. Maybe historical fiction would be kind of fun, but I don't know. I just like writing scares.
No, I love it. No, that's great.
Yeah.
So, speaking of speaking of that, would you ever consider going back to the Clatterman?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would. I have you know, this novel and a book of short stories that I'm working on. I want to feature a death cult short story. I have this really insane,
Wow.
bloody,
Mhm,
chaotic, crazy death cult short story. Just to write it, right? Just because that's what death cult's all about. It's just about like
mhm.
crazy, just gore. That's what I love about it, you know? So I want to write a short story about that. And then, yeah, I don't know. Um, Death Cult versus Clatterman. That'd be kind of fun, right?
Oh, that would be cool.
That would
That
be
would be
cool.
cool.
Yeah, I don't know who would win, or maybe they were kind of, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely want to do more about it. That's why I love, I love being able to create these two different stories that I can just build upon in the future. And I've had a lot of readers ask me that same question, and it's when I tell them, yeah, I want to, and they, and it's always fun that they're excited to see what comes down the road.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I love both of them so much, and you know, they're just such fun stories that I can really build upon a lot. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're great. Like Death Cult, like that was the first one I went through and read by you, and I thought it was fantastic. I still need to get a physical copy and buy one. I think I read both of your books on ebooks. I need to get them because I have all my horror books down here behind me. So I'm trying to add more and more to
Yeah.
it. But yeah, it's great. It was so much fun to go through and read that one, which got me really excited to read the Clatterman when it came out because I was like, all right, I think I have an idea of
Yeah.
the writing style. But the Clatterman it felt like a different tone to it. Um,
Yeah. The thing about me is I get bored if I write the same thing over and over again.
mhm,
I don't think I could write a series because I would just get bored with this story. I hate to say that. And again, I want to write more of it, but I had this, like when I was finishing Death Cult, my muse was like, write urban legend, write this, go to the 90s, like write this different story, a bunch of, so it's like I kind of have to jump to, the different stories because I like to mix it up. But yeah, so it was a whole I love how it was like a whole different vibe.
Mhm.
It still had my signature kind of style, but
Mhm.
yeah, it was a different vibe entirely. And the ghost room's like entirely different too. So
So we have a White Dale says, if you could take any aspect of Watership Down and turn it into a horror novel, what would it be?
oh my God. I just remember, I mean, I haven't watched it since I was a kid, but I just remember the rabbits killing each other and there was so much blood. I remember it being kind of political though as a kid. I don't remember the exact premise, but I remember it was a little political. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, oh gosh. I guess it would be maybe taking, that innocence, right? Because you have these rabbits, these cute little rabbits like doing their thing and maybe taking like, innocence and kind of like turning it upside down, turning it on its head into this crazy story. Just that sense of innocence.
So that's so funny. Hey, Blue Smoke. How's it going? Appreciate you being here. What do you hope readers take away from reading The Clatter Man?
I just want them to have fun. Honestly, the only reason I write my stories, I mean, there's more reasons, but I love to write horror. I just want readers to have a good time. I just want them to have fun. I want them to laugh. I want them to get scared. I just want them to enjoy themselves. Oh, bye. Thanks so much for coming, Eamon. Um, yeah, I just want them to have a good time. That's all. I don't want a message. I don't want some stories have a message like that's
Mhm.
not me. I just want you to have a good time and escape for a little bit. And that's honestly all I want.
Just to have fun. Love it.
Just to have
Just
fun.
to go in, turn your brain off, just have a good time.
Yes. Like one of
Get
my readers said when they bought the Clatter Man, they're like, I'm gonna turn the lights off. I'm gonna have a little book light on, and that's how I'm gonna read. I'm like, there you go. That's how you read the Clatter Man. You got to have
Mhm.
the ambiance.
That's how I read it. It was in on a boat in the middle of the ocein was what I was
That is
going
the
through
scary
reading
thing
it,
to
and
read it, even though
it was dark, it was terrifying. The kids were snoring, and it was perfect. It was perfect.
Aw.
It was perfect. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot of eerie noises. It was good. It
Oh
was good.
gosh, yeah.
Um, so without spoiling anything, what can you tell us about any upcoming projects you're working on? You mentioned maybe getting into short stories, but really curious if you're open to say what are you currently working on?
So I'm deciding, like, I don't know what's gonna come first, but I do have this novel I'm working on and the short stories. So those are kind of like both things I'm working on. And again, I don't know what's gonna come first. So but they're both really fun. The novel is almost finished. I just kind of have to go back into it. I don't like the ending. I don't like the twist. It has to be different. So I'm kind of like have to do the whole thing over again. The short stories though are fun. I have one about a spider, which is really gross. And so I read The Troop by Nick Carter. Did you ever read The Troop? You read it. Oh God.
One of the first
Oh my God.
horror books. This book is terrifying
It is.
in all the best ways.
Yeah,
It is
all
so
the
much
best
fun.
ways. It's
It's
so
like
good.
the yeah, yeah, the amazing book. I tell everyone to go through and read that book. If you want like some intensity, that's it.
It's
With,
ama it's amazing. After reading that, I was so grossed out and I was so inspired by the level of detail he goes into and how
Mhm.
disgusting he writes. It's so I my skin crawled reading that book. I was so grossed out. I would look at food differently after I read
Mhm.
that book if it looked a certain way, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Um, it was absolutely disgusting, so gross. Like I have never been so grossed out by and I've read like American Psycho, but American Psycho was more shocking. It was gross, but it wasn't like get under your skin gross.
Mhm.
So after reading that, Nick Carter kind of inspired me to like, kind of write that way.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book.
It is
Fantastic
really,
one.
really amazing.
All right, I'm curious as being a horror fanatic,
Yeah.
what are you looking forward to that's coming out in 2025, 2026? What's the next big horror movie you're looking out for?
Oh gosh. It actually came out today. It's called The Ugly Stepsister. It's on Shudder.
That
It's
sounds
a Norwegian horror film. It's supposed to
sounds
be absolutely brutal, and I cannot wait to watch it.
Yes, I've seen this. Yes, I've seen this the image all over the place with the foot look like and it got got cut. It looks intense.
I'm gonna watch it this weekend. I can't wait.
Okay.
And maybe I'll get inspired after a while. Because, like I said, I love to, I get inspired by, a lot of my books. I get inspired by horror movies. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Any books you currently, any horror books that you're currently reading or read recently that you highly recommend people to go through to read?
Oh gosh, so I'm reading A Fold to Extinction by S.S. Fitzgerald right now, which is really good. I love it. It's kind of like Jurassic Park, but more horror.
Okay.
It's really great. Dark Veil Society.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good. The recent one I read was Troop. That was the most recent trade book I read. Those are what I'm currently reading. I'm reading another. I forgot the name of it. I'm reading another book. It's like a, it's a horror novella, but it's pretty intense. It's like splatterpunk. I can't think of the name of it, but I'm reading that as well.
Oh, A Fold to Extinction.
A Fold to Extinction. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Because I typed in A Fold to Extinction. I'm like, why I've not heard of that. But no, A Fold to Extinction. Yes, I have the audiobook, and that is on my list after I finish these 3 books over here. So that one's next on my list.
Awesome. It's really good.
Listen to that one. But yeah, I didn't read anything on it. Or I read the back of it, what it's about, but knowing it's Jurassic Park, but with more like intensity, that's what you would hope Jurassic Park would be. Yep. That's awesome. All right. Fantastic. How can people get in touch with you? How can people connect with you? How can people go through and find your book?
Oh gosh. So I have my website, JanelleSchiecke.com, where you can contact me on my website. I'm also on X. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Threads. I'm on TikTok, and I'm on Blue Sky too. So I'm on all of those as well. So those are all the ways you can contact me. Oh, Goodreads too, but I'm on there. But the website and social media is obviously where you can contact me.
Perfect. Well, I really do appreciate you being on, Janelle. Thank you, everyone who went through, was in the chat. I will have all of Janelle's information down in the description, and definitely go through, check out all of her stories. They're all fantastic, but specifically the Clatter Man. It just came out this week, right?
Tuesday.
Came out Tuesday. Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, so it came out on Tuesday. It's right off the shelf. So definitely go through and get your copy. I promise you are going to enjoy it if you have any fandom of horror. So thank you again, Janelle, so much for showing up. And I hope everyone has a fantastic evening and even better weekend. Thank you very much.